Hello everybody. I wanted to start this video by stating that I do not promote the use of psychedelics, and all of my videos are based purely off of my own opinions and my own experiences. I advise everyone to do their own research and take the proper precautions, as these kinds of practices are not for everyone. I want to thank everyone for all the support on this new journey. On YouTube, I went from 2 subscribers to 70 in about 2 to 3 days. So that is just purely amazing, and just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Please turn on notifications so that you can know when my new videos drop. And please don't forget to like, comment, and share. And yeah, let's get into these videos. All right, now before we get into these videos about my experience during the ceremonies and afterwards, I wanted to make sure I paint the picture that the feelings that I had felt through ceremonies 1, 2, and 3 were completely changed after ceremony 4. You'll notice that I am very negative. I'm very judgmental. I'm very, basically just wearing my emotions on my sleeve, and it can come across as though I didn't like the place that I went to, or I felt like everything was bad or a waste. And that was really just my own insecurities, my own internal feelings about the situation that I was in. I hadn't been in that type of environment before. It was very hard. It was the hardest thing that I ever experienced in my life. So I was projecting the toughness of the whole situation. So I don't want anyone to watch my videos for ceremonies 1 through 3 and then judge the place based off of that. Make sure you watch all 4 videos, and it will all come full circle. I believe that the Spiritual Healing Center is a wonderful place with wonderful people, and I just wanted to stress that before we get into these videos, because how I felt in sessions 1, 2, and 3 were completely 180'd, 360'd after session 4. So, and this may be the same for a lot of people. Maybe their first 3 sessions were very hard and very bad, and but you don't get the trips that you need, or you don't get the trips that you want. You get the trips that you need. So remember that. There's been a lot of people who had a really bad night 1, and then the next 3 were all pure bliss or great or spiritual healing. And so every person is different. Everyone's going to have a different experience under this plant medicine, but I wanted to make sure that nobody judges this place based off of my first 3 videos or 4, however many videos before. Make sure you wait until the full journey is done before you give yourself a proper judgment of this place that I went to in Peru, and the people there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for subscribing, liking, commenting, viewing. I appreciate every single one of you, and let's get into it. Alright, I am in my shack in Pucallpa, Peru. Just wanted to talk about day 1. Today is day 2 at 9:37 a.m. in Peru time. So day 1, I flew out of Buffalo, New York around 8 o'clock, landed in JFK, which is New York City. A lot of people were telling me that
the airport was going to be a nightmare, and honestly, it was very easy. It took me about 10-15 minutes to get to my departure gate. Um, so that was cool. From there, I went to Lima, Peru. That flight was about 8 hours. Um, I believe, yeah, it was the plane was Latam. It was very big. It was very accommodating. They had movies on there. I watched John Wick 4, which wasn't really that good, but it was very cool how accommodating it all was on that plane. It was a very nice plane. So I speak high regards of Latam. If you're gonna fly, my main flights were on Delta. Um, so from from Buffalo to Peru, or from Buffalo to New York City, I was on Delta. From New York City to Lima, I was on Delta, but it was by way of Latam. So that plane was 8 hours. I got off in Lima, and then from Lima, my last plane was about an hour long, and it was from Lima to Pucallpa. However, um, I had a pretty long layover. My flight got delayed, um, and so I had to wait about an hour or so or two before I was even able to check in. Then, when I was finally able to check in, I had a real scary moment where I wasn't able to figure out where my next flight was flying out of. They had the board. It said from Lima to Pucallpa, and it had the flight number. However, it did not tell me which gate I was in. So I'm going around. I'm freaking out. Boarding was at 10:45. It was about 9:30, and I'm freaking out because I have no idea where I'm supposed to be leaving. Eventually, a guy who spoke English, and that was another hard part, is 95% of people don't speak English, they speak Spanish. And my Spanish is poquito, así, así. I know the basics, but to try and converse with people, it's very hard. So I found somebody that spoke English. He basically said, give it an hour and it'll update. It updated about a half hour later. Then I realized there was actually two flights going to Pucallpa, so I was able to match it up with my flight number. Then I finally found my gate. However, I go to my gate and it's not Star Peru. Star Peru is the flight, the plane, the company. And when I went to my gate, it wasn't that. It was Sunny or something like that, Fly or something like that. And now I'm freaking out again because I'm essentially at the correct gate, but it's not the same brand of plane that I'm getting on. So luckily, I ended up waiting it out, um, and it was just that I was so early that it was still the flight prior. So um, it updated to Star Peru eventually, and then I felt a lot better about everything. Um, we actually got on a bus to go to the plane, which is different than in Buffalo and New York City, where you just go through the tunnel. For this, you had to get on a giant bus, which drove you around. You seen all the aircrafts, and they drop you off right in front of your plane, and then you walk up it, kind of like how people get on a private plane. I also seen it looks like their military is actually at the airport because I seen a bunch of helicopters, which I posted on Facebook. Military helicopters with the camo all over it, so that was pretty cool. Um, then, so I was in contact with the head shaman, Wheeler, who founded the place and created the place, Ayahuasca Spiritual Healing Center. Um, and he had been in contact with me on WhatsApp, so I was feeling better because now I don't have to take a taxi from the airport to the actual healing center. Now, originally in the email, they told me that I was going to have to take a boat to get here. So that was kind of freaky. I'm thinking there's not going to be any service, and I'll be out in the middle of nowhere. Now, granted, I am out in the middle of nowhere. which I will show you after I'm done kind of going over what I witnessed. Um, but so he had been in constant contact with me as I got off the plane, so he eased a lot of my worries. He was outside as soon as I got there, him and his son. Um, Him and his son picked me up. They actually rented a car, and then they drove me to the healing center. Now, what was scary again is neither of them speak great English. His son speaks better English than him, that's for sure. Um, but at some point, we pull over to like a shop, and then Wheeler just gets out of the car and waves to me. So now I'm just in the car with his son, and I'm alone in the back seat, driving through the city, the towns of Peru and the villages of Peru. Then he pulls over at another shop, and he gets out the car. And now I'm like freaking out because I'm in the middle of nowhere and you just left me in the car alone. However, I noticed that he did lock all the doors, so that made me feel a little bit more safe, but it was a very scary moment because, again, we hadn't had much contact, much discussion because they didn't speak the language that good. So now I'm freaking out like, is someone gonna come in the car and rob me or take me hostage or what? But eventually he came back. He was just getting a bucket from the store. Then we drove for about 10-15 minutes. He pulls over and he says, hop in the front seat. Now, my first day here, it was 96 degrees, literally. Very hot. He had the AC blasting in the car, so that was good. It still was kind of hot. And then we proceeded to drive to the Spirit Center. Now, um, that took about 45 minutes to an hour. It was a very long ride. The roads are very bumpy. He had to stop a lot so he wouldn't mess the car up. That's how bad the roads were. One thing I noticed is there's a lot of taxis, and 90% of the taxis out here are just three-wheelers. They're basically like a motorcycle, kind of like a dirt bike almost, but they have two wheels in the back for people to sit in. Now, one thing I learned is that cars take precedence over the taxis. So they either are supposed to move out move out of the way by themselves if we come up next to him, or he'll honk his horn at them to let them know, hey, move out of my way. So, yeah, we drove here. I got here probably 2 or 3 o'clock, I want to say. I met with the guy. I believe his name is Alex. He's American, white guy, and he speaks both languages fluently. So that was comforting that I was finally able to connect with somebody who was American as well as spoke English. So he kind of gave me the rundown. He basically said, "Hey, go back, check out your shack, your hut, and I'll come and get you when the other 3 people arrive who are staying here as well." Um, so I chilled out. I'll show you my bedroom. It's got a net around it so the bugs don't get in, so that's very crucial. As soon as I get in, I notice there's a black butterfly in my room. He's still in here. He might even... No, he's not in the window, but I might see him when I show you that. So I noticed a black butterfly. I immediately wanted to take a shower because I was sweating, dripping. It was so hot. Um, so I took a shower. Then I noticed there's a toad right in my shower. It looked like he was waiting for me to cut the water on because he wanted some of the water. So that was cool. There was a toad. Then I come out and I see a white praying mantis run under my bed. So that was interesting. Then I go to move my stuff and I see a brown or green or dark green, hunter green, or a black, I'm not 100% sure. There's a salamander in my room too. So that's 4 animals I seen in my shack within the first hour or so being here. So anyways, I didn't get a lot of sleep on the flights, so I was kind of resting and whatnot and waiting for him to come get me for orientation. So he takes me to orientation. We go into the kitchen area. So the kitchen is pretty big. There's 2 women in there that are basically the cooks, and they're very friendly. Again, they don't speak English, or maybe if they do, it's not very strong. But they're very friendly and nice, and um, they cook all the meals for us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, so we go in there and basically get the rundown. Now, the three ladies that are here, they're literally from Italy, but they speak Spanish. I assume they speak Italian too. They speak decent English. They can kind of communicate with me. But then I found out they were doing something on top of the ayahuasca ceremonies. They're doing something called the dietas, which I believe is a specific plant medicine that you eat it, and I think you fast, and you can't shower, you can't use deodorant, you can't brush your teeth, um, you can't use bug spray. Basically, you have to be one with the plant that you're taking. Um, so they're doing that. I did never even heard of dietas till today. Then he also offered us what's called, I think, a como, something like that. Um, and that's where they like burn a piece of your skin off, and then they put a frog poison in your bloodstream. Um, and I guess it helps your immune system and does a bunch of stuff. It was $100, but none of the four of us were interested in that. Um, so he basically just said tomorrow morning um, we're gonna do another plant medicine that you're gonna drink at 7:30 in the morning. You're not gonna have breakfast today, so I didn't have breakfast today. I woke up at 7:30 or 7 to go there at 7:30. Um, you drink it, and then you're supposed to drink 7 liters of water, which is a lot of water. Um, I probably drank about probably 6 liters before he was like, "Okay, you're good." So basically, you drink it, and then you just start drinking water, and then they want you to puke at all of the plant medicine that you just drank. And basically, it's to get you used to puking for the ayahuasca, which I never really had a big issue puking. I can put my finger down my mouth, and if I ever need to, like back, I'm a year sober of drinking, but whenever I would get super drunk where I'd get the spins before bed, I'd just make myself throw up because I know I'd feel better the next day. So I never really had an issue with puking, so it was okay. Um, Obviously, it's not fun, but yeah. So I'm drinking the water. The girls are drinking the water with me. We're all just kind of puking and whatnot, and so eventually we got to the point where um, he said that we pretty much got everything that we needed up. So I got some notes from day one that I'll just go over. Sun goes down around 6 p.m. That was very interesting. It was um, pitch black very early. Um, I tried a grenadilla, which is actually, it looks like a kind of like an orange, and but it's got a very hard shell. You cut into it and then you crack it open, and in the middle of it, it's got tasty, crunchy seeds, and it's a fruit. The seeds were pretty good. Um, Dinner is between 5 to 6:30, but not on ceremony days. So today I won't eat dinner, as well as tomorrow I won't eat dinner. Today I also didn't eat breakfast because of the plant medicine. Now the plant medicine is only today. I don't have to do that at all. So the rest of the time here I will have breakfast. Lunch is at noon. So my ceremonies are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So um, today will be my first ayahuasca ceremony. I'll have a day. I'll do it again tomorrow. Then I'll have a day off. Then I'll do it Thursday, Friday. Then I'll have another day off Saturday, which will be the day that I go back to the airport. Um, so day two, I wrote, I drank a plant that makes you throw up at 7:30. No breakfast. Noon is at Lunch is at noon. It clears you out. I seen what the DMT looks like, as well as the roots. So basically, the way DMT works is a lot of people consider DMT something that you smoke, and they call DMT the spirit molecule. A lot of people have a lot of people that have near-death experiences, basically people that die and come back to life or are resuscitated. They all have similar experiences where DMT is released. Now, DMT is released when you die and when you're sleeping, and they call it the spirit molecule. And basically, people that smoke DMT, you smoke it and it lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, most people can't recall everything that happened or can even put it into words because it's so quick. Um, Obviously, it's a completely wild experience. You go into other dimensions, you see things, you go back into time because time doesn't really exist, only the present exists. So I wasn't really interested in trying DMT because I found out about ayahuasca. Now, ayahuasca is DMT, however, there is, so if you were to drink DMT leaves, you have a protein blocker in your stomach that will not allow you to get the psychedelic experience from that. So, in the Amazon jungle, specifically originating, I believe, in Peru or South America, they stumbled upon a root, and I don't remember exactly the name of the root, but the root is actually a protein inhibitor. So what it does is it blocks the blocker. So now you are able to drink the DMT because when you drink DMT leaves, your protein blocks it. When you mix the DMT leaves with the root, it's a protein inhibitor. So now your blocker is being blocked. So now you are able to drink the DMT. When you drink the DMT, it lasts 4 to 6 hours instead of 10 to 15 minutes like when you smoke it. So I figured I might as well go straight to it instead of kind of dipping your feet in. Now, don't mistake me. Smoking DMT is not in any means dipping your feet in anything because it's you blast off into another dimension. However, it's different as well. Smoking DMT and drinking ayahuasca, they're two completely different things. Um, but it's still DMT either way. Um, so I seen what the DMT's leaves look like as well as the roots. Basically, they put it into a pot and they cook it. They cook it down. Then they strain the DMT leaves into a bucket, and that bucket is what's called a brew. Now, it's kind of like a tea, but I heard doesn't taste good. But it's like a tea. You strain after you boil the leaves as well as the root together in a pot over wooded fire. Um, you drain the leaves into a bucket, and then it's like a black tea, but it's called a brew. Um, Once you're actually in the ceremony area, which is a big hut with mats, um, you'll be called up to drink your portion of the brew. Now, um, after you drink it, you go back to your mat and you can lay down or do whatever. After about 40 minutes to an hour, you should start feeling it as well as soon as the shaman, there's going to be 3 shaman in my, for this, there's about 8 of us that are doing the ceremony. And the 3 shaman, once they start to feel it, which is about 40 minutes to an hour, they will start playing the guitar and singing songs, which are called ikiros, um, which is very spiritual. Um, so after about 2 hours of that, they're going to start coming over to people individually and singing ikiros to you personally. Um, and for that, they want you to sit up so that they can see your energy and connect to you. Um, that's about all I got so far um, for today. So I'm going to be doing my first ayahuasca ceremony tonight. Um, it's funny. The dogs just go wherever they want. I don't think that anybody technically owns the dogs because the dogs just go wherever they feel like. Which is pretty cool. A dog just came into the ceremony area. He's just walking around. But yeah, I will show you guys my room as well as the outside. And then I'm probably going some reflecting in this hammock, which is very, you hear all the sounds of nature and everything like that. Very soothing. I'm gonna take it off of the holder here. Actually, let me unlock my door. There's my door. It says love on it. There's a little chair for. It's got the little tent on it, area for your clothes. Toilet, shower, and I'll show you the outside. See what I can get. Let me throw this back on my bed. We have a, this is kind of the village. We have a pesticide-free fruit plant over here. Looks like it's got bananas, or however they call it, and then some kind of other fruit. Oh, here's my shack. Yeah, that is my area. I don't know if I'm gonna. I'll probably try to get the pool later. There's a very nice in-ground pool, and I can try to show you guys the ceremony center as well. But yeah, that's it for now. And live in light, love and light. Day 1 on the ayahuasca ceremony. A long night. Don't really feel up to talking much. My energy is pretty spent. Need some sleep. Maybe I can put things into words a little bit better, but I made it through, so that's good. I have a very strong sense of peace, inner peace. Just live in the moment. Every moment matters so much. I'm just so grateful for life. Hopefully I'm up to talking more tomorrow when I wake up. I've got a whole nother ceremony to do tomorrow as well. Well, it's not easy, but it's worth it. But love and light. Sorry, it's hard for me to speak right now. It takes a lot of energy. Wish I could telepathically talk to the screen right now, but I can't. So maybe in the future, future technology, we can just telepathically say what we feel, and it would save us a lot of energy. But good night. I love you. All right. Day 3, the morning of day 3. Last night was my first ayahuasca ceremony. It was rough.
I'll just read over my initial thoughts this morning. So, I survived my first ceremony. It was rough. Started at 8 p.m. and I didn't feel it until after the ceremony was over. But everyone around me felt it during the ceremony. I tried to hold it in as long as I could the whole time, as far as purging and puking. But I wish I didn't. I wish I would have thrown up a lot sooner than I did, because I felt queasy for 6-7 hours straight. I should have begged to puke. I should have forced myself to puke. But I believe that that was an ego check saying, hey, you don't have to be so tough. But yeah, it was what it was. I eventually woke up, I eventually sat up and finally released it. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't a lot of puke. I felt so much better afterwards, just to get that out of my stomach. So basically, when you are doing ceremony, you don't eat after noon. So I was on an empty stomach, and that was basically all that I had in my stomach. The whole ceremony was the ayahuasca. Gave it to me in a shot glass. Now, yesterday, he said that he was going to give me a third of a dose. And it's the long shot glass. But I believe that he gave me a full dose, because it was the same amount that the people in front of me, the three ladies from Italy, was the same amount that they were given. So I don't know if he either forgot, or maybe he was testing me to see if I would say something about it in the moment. But I just drank the whole thing, so I'm not scared. There's nothing to fear besides discovering more of yourself. So yeah, it was intense. So you drink it, you lay down for about 40 minutes to an hour. Once the shaman starts feeling it, he will start singing ikiros, which are ritual songs, basically spiritual songs. And Wheeler has a beautiful, deep voice. There was other people that basically, when he would stop for a little bit to catch his breath, other people would be singing in the back. There was another shaman there as well who was a pretty good singer. There was an actual American who you could tell he was new, and I wasn't really a fan of his voice or his singing. I'm not. He's working on it, I'm sure, and he's learning and he's new, but it was throwing me off pretty badly. Yeah, once Wheeler probably sang for 2-3 hours. Then after that, he comes over and sings to you individually, and as well as a shaman behind him does one as well individually. So I basically was the fourth person, because the three girls from Italy were to my right, and then there was one American girl to my left. So when Wheeler got to me to sing directly, I just started meditating and trying to breathe in his energy. You could tell his energy. You can't take his energy. He's on a different frequency. He's on a different vibration. He's very spiritually powerful. But I was just trying to soak some of it up, you know. Once that was done, is when it really started to hit me. Basically, I don't know if that was how it was supposed to be, but it seemed like everybody else around me was feeling it the whole time that they were singing, because everyone was laughing or crying, um, or taking deep breaths or sighing or kind of orgasmically like, yeah. So everybody else seemed to be feeling it way quicker than I was, and I didn't start really feeling it until after the personal songs, and then I was just going through it. I didn't feel the presence of Mother Aya yet. Hopefully tonight. I didn't really have visions or visit any trauma. I kind of just mine was racing to so many different things, but my body was just in like a standstill piece. I couldn't get super comfortable on the mat, the yoga mat, because I'm a side sleeper and I didn't have a pillow for my knees. So mainly towards the end, all I could think about was getting to my room so I could get in my bed with my pillow between my knees. But I could not really talk. My energy was completely drained. I couldn't really move. I could move, but like I wanted to get up so bad. It took me about 2 hours to even get up. But let me finish reading here. After the singing was done, I was going through it. I should have begged to puke. It took me about 2 hours to even muster the strength to get up and walk back to my room at 3:30 in the morning, but I felt so strong for doing so. Some takeaways I learned, even though I didn't have any real visions or sense Mother Aya's presence. Number one, speaking and talking is overrated. I'm going to work on that integration. You know, it takes a lot of energy for us to speak. You don't realize that. I truly wish that we were advanced enough like the extraterrestrials to where we could speak telepathically. It'll save us a lot of energy. It would just make things so much quicker and easier. I wish I could telepathically record this whole video and just get it all out super quick. But here I am, putting in the time and the energy to share my experiences, even though I'm still pretty drained. I did have breakfast, but I'll get into that soon here. So number two is always live in the present moment, as that's all that really exists anyways. Basically saying time isn't real, the past doesn't exist, and the future doesn't exist. It just now exists every millisecond, every billionth of a second. That's the only thing that's real. That's the only thing that exists. Time was created by man to keep us going into one direction. However, it's not real. So just live in the moment every second that you can. Don't get caught up on the past, and don't stress yourself about the future. Just let it flow, kind of like water. Number three, enjoy laughing with others. You appreciate the simple human emotions so much more on ayahuasca. I found myself smiling at other people's conversations, even though I was immobilized and couldn't really muster words. So, while it was a little bothersome that the people that didn't go right back to their beds, they stuck around and did a lot of chit-chatting. Um, I fed off of their happiness and their laughter, and it made me smile and made me laugh internally, even though I didn't have much energy to actually converse with them or let them know that I was listening, or um, let them know that I was happy and with their happiness, just simply um, feeding off of their energy um, in a positive way. So, um, yeah, happiness, laughter, joy, these are not things to ever take for granted. They are so powerful, and I have so much gratitude for those feelings. To hear them so happy to help each other. They would bring each other food, and each, vice versa. They were just so grateful for every little tiny thing, every favor that they did for each other, whether it was bringing tea or any of that. They were just so grateful, and it really warmed my heart, just to know that how much they care about giving instead of receiving. And that's very powerful. And I think we all need to adopt that more. Um, I'm getting emotional just talking about that because it's so powerful and underappreciated and underused and undervalued that, um, you know, if you're giving to others, that means that you open yourself up to receive. If you're always just looking to receive, then you're closing off um, your doorway and your transfer. So um, definitely try to look out for others as much as you can. Number 4, music will always be a doorway to the soul. There is 3 girls here from Italy, and the one has the voice of an angel. So I will get into this godsend. I think she's my guardian angel. She was, if she wouldn't have been on this trip, it would have not been as I wouldn't have had nearly as many positive experiences. So the 3 girls from Italy, they don't speak the best English, but the older lady, she is actually, I think, the wife of a shaman, but she's here doing the ceremonies as well. And she speaks pretty good English, and she understands it well. She also speaks Spanish and Italian, but yeah, she speaks pretty good English. And so the first day yesterday, when I told them that I was vegan, they didn't really understand. They pretty much just thought I can only eat vegetables, raw vegetables, and fruits. So the first day, my first dinner, they brought me a plate of dry lettuce and dry tomatoes, and it was pretty depressing. And I hadn't eaten. I had just flown in, so I hadn't eaten. So I'm like, oh my god, this is awful. And she took it upon herself without me saying anything about it. I was just going to take it on the chin. She went up to the kitchen and she said, no, he can have one of these things. And what it was like a potato. It was like a mashed potato, but they molded it into like 2 pieces of bread, kind of. So it was like a potato sandwich with corn, or no, not corn, carrots and peas in between. And I tell you, that saved my night. Then they brought out a bowl of fruit. So in the fruit, I tried my first, what's called a grenadilla. Now, a grenadilla is kind of looks like an orange, but it's a little darker, closer to the red side. But it's got a very hard shell. What you do is you cut it or crack it open, and in the middle there's these little, or well, not little, but medium, I'd say medium size, slimy, almost kind of like escargot it looks like, but they're slimy, fruity seeds, and they're very crunchy, and when you eat them, they're very tasty, delicious, or as they would say, delicioso. Um, so first time trying a grenadilla, that was delicious. Then the other Italian girl gave me half of her mango. That was delicious. I had some grapes. Um, so yeah, um, that was just one instance where she was a godsend. Um, when she got me that potato sandwich thing. Uh, um, then I went swimming in the pool. They have an in-ground pool here, and it's very nice. Oh my goodness. And then she came out and swam with me. We talked some more. We kind of got into, where she's been, and she said that she lost count of how many times she's done ayahuasca, and um, I gained some more knowledge from her in that regard. So that was cool. Then during the ceremony, once Wheeler was done singing, she pulls out a guitar and she starts singing. Maybe she was singing in Italian, I'm not 100% sure, but she had the voice of an angel, and her voice was so soothing. And then towards the end, she started singing a song about Mother Ayahuasca and love is healing and free your soul. And it was so beautiful, and it was in English, so I think that she kind of was directing that song to me because I was really like the only person still in there that, I believe the other girl had left. So I feel like she was singing it to me, and like I said with the other American guy, that I wasn't a fan of his voice. It was a nice turnaround from there. Um, and Yeah, her voice was very soothing. Once the ceremony was over, the other American guy, who's kind of like he helps run everything. He went and got some tea, and I still couldn't get up. I couldn't really talk. Um, and of course, the godsend lady random comes up to me and asks me if I want some tea, and I kind of just shook my head because I didn't have the energy to speak really. Um, so she brought me tea and honey, and that was so delicious and just what I needed. I had lost my water bottle. Basically, once you drink the ayahuasca, you want to drink some water and basically swish out your mouth and spit it in your bucket to kind of get that taste out of your mouth. Now, luckily, the other girl next to me, she pulled out her water, and I asked her right after I took my dose, if I could just take some of hers, and I said I wouldn't put my mouth on it, and she let me get it. So that kind of saved me, but I was definitely kind of down about losing my water bottle. I found it when I came back to my room. It had fell behind the bed, but I definitely am going to make sure I bring my water to the ceremony tonight because, yeah, you don't want to have that taste in your mouth. And then especially after you puke, now you got the acid on your teeth and all that stuff. So, yeah, definitely going to bring my water. But yeah, she brought me the tea. That was amazing. And then they eventually all went to bed. I was basically the only one left in there that wasn't actually like a part of the process. Like there was the two shaman and then the two Americans who are actually staying here. The ones that help his website, and the other is kind of like running things. And they brought in another guy who I think may have been French or something, and then he started playing the guitar, and he was amazing, and he could sing really well as also, and yeah, so there was a lot of music, and it just spoke to my soul, most of it, but yeah, so he started singing to me, and finally I was able to, because again, I was very uncomfortable on the mat. Um, so I wanted to get to my room. I just could not muster the strength to get up. I would move my body and then it would fall back down. I would pick my leg up, and that was as much as I could do. And then after I threw up, I started to come back as far as like being able to build up my strength, my energy. So I finally just got up and just walked back to my room and finally laid down with the fan on me, which was a godsend as well. Although it was pretty kind of chilly last night, it's pretty hot now. It's supposed to be like 90s, I think, the next couple days. But yesterday was a pretty cool day. But yeah, couldn't get right to sleep, but eventually I was able to within like a half hour to an hour. And then I knew I had to be up at 7:30 because I had to get breakfast in me. Um, but yeah, yesterday they gave me, I think it was lentil beans with rice and soft carrots and coleslaw. So that was pretty good. I mean, I was definitely looking forward to some rice and beans because, yeah, lettuce and tomato just ain't doing it. But this morning they gave me like, I think it was maybe potato and some kind of bean mixed together and then more tomatoes. So that was kind of bland, but at least it was something to get in me. And then we'll see what I have today for lunch at noon. And then again, I won't be eating dinner today because I'll be going into another ceremony. But yeah, so that's kind of touching on the music. 5 is something scares you, run directly towards it, as all you'll discover is more of yourself, an infinite being connected to everything in the universe and all other universes. We are all one, but we get an individual experience, and that's a blessing. I have another ceremony tonight, and then I get one day off, then 2 more ceremonies in a row again. In the middle of last night, I remember saying to myself, no way am I going to sign up to feel this all over again tomorrow. But I awakened today with more strength to face the plant medicine again. Love and light. So, yeah, that's kind of my experience so far. Day 3, but day 1 for basically ayahuasca. I know a lot of people say that day 1 is always rough, and then 2, 3, and 4 are usually pure bliss and love. I'm hoping that's the case, but you can't go into things with expectations. I think that maybe have been an issue that I had, was having expectations. I thought that I was going to have visions of my past and go into deep-seated trauma that I'm not aware about, that hold me back. The 3 things that I told Wheeler prior to the ceremony for my intentions were: 1, I would like to know my life's true path; 2, I would like to know what I need to do to reach my full potential; and 3, can you help me open my third eye? None of the 3 really seemed to flourish or come in. I did kind of feel a little bit of third eye work, but it seemed similar to the third eye work that I had been doing on my own privately. So, there may not just be any kind of speeding up the process or cheat code, so to speak, or and maybe it's just because I hadn't connected with Mother Aya yet. Personally, I mean, I'm sure she was in me, she was flowing through me, maybe she was healing some things that I don't know about, but I didn't actually feel her presence, or speak to any spirits or anything like that. The Moloku was very cool. The inside has got this huge roof, which when you look at it from outside, it doesn't even do it any justice from when you're inside and you look up. I didn't see any patterns. I didn't, you know, a lot of people say they see geometric patterns and stuff like that. I didn't really have much visuals. Just some tiny stuff, but not really worth mentioning. Got quite a bit of mosquito bites. They don't care if you have spray on, that's for sure. I think if I can think of anything else. Oh, yeah, Wheeler gave me a nice shirt. I can show it to the camera. I wore it to my ceremony. I was very appreciative of this. Something that I will treasure and hang up in my room probably, so I can always look at it and remember. Yeah, so I guess in closing, I have another ceremony. We'll see what they give me for lunch. Hopefully it's something decent. It sure tests your veganism out here because the food is very bland. They don't put seasonings on it. I think that's because it doesn't work well with the ayahuasca. So they don't give you salts and pepper and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go get some tea. That sounds like it would be very good right now. And then probably relax. Oh wow, it's already almost noon. So I got a half hour before lunchtime, so that's cool. Maybe I'll just hang out until then. Another thing, they want you to, they talked about smoking on this thing called a mapacho, which is basically the Peruvian or South American tobacco. I don't think it has nicotine in it, but I smoked it, and you're supposed to kind of blow it on your arms and push it on your hair, and it protects you, and it's supposed to calm you down and bring you down if you're feeling overwhelmed from the ayahuasca. But to me, it's just, I don't resonate with smoke in my lungs anymore, and I don't enjoy that nasty taste in my mouth. And the one thing that kind of bothered me about the whole ceremony was everybody was smoking up a storm, and I had a headache from it, and I constantly kept inhaling it and tasting it, and it bothered me pretty bad. So I wish that there was, that would probably be one of my complaints about the whole ceremony, is for people that don't smoke and don't want to be breathing smoke. That wasn't enjoyable at all. Another reason why I wanted to get back to my room, because everybody just kept smoking up a storm. But yeah, it is what it is. Probably not looking forward to that aspect of things tonight. But again, it is what it is. Then there was something else, which is like a perfume that you spray and you wipe it in, and you rub it in, and that smelled pretty good. The girls next to me kept using it. I didn't personally use it because I didn't see if I had one or where it was or what it looked like, but that smelled pretty good and kind of made me feel better about the smoke that I kept inhaling. But yeah, that would probably be my one complaint, apart from the food being bland. But you know, they're not probably used to people being vegan, so I understand that part of things. I'd be happy with some brown rice and some pasta, or you know, something other than dry lettuce and tomatoes, or just plain beans. But maybe I think it was either lentils or black lentils, whatever that was with the rice, that was really good. But that's really been the only thing that's been good. And the fruit, of course, the fruit is very good. I had an apple. I had one of those mandarins. I think the the smaller oranges. But yeah, there's been so many wild dogs out here. 3 different colors. There was a white one that was laying in the ashes. I'm sure to cool off or something. I guess that's the female, and she gave 3 back-to-back litters. Because none of these dogs are fixed, and nobody owns any of these dogs. They're just all wild dogs that can roam free. The black dog I seen, he had an injured foot, so he was kind of running on 3 legs, so I felt bad for him. And then I seen a brown dog came in later, and it was funny. My buddy pointed out how huge his balls were. So, but it was true. He was a tiny dog, but those things were swinging. As far as animals, I probably said it in the last video, but so far I've seen in my room, there's been a black butterfly, a toad in my shower, a white praying mantis ran under my bed, and I've seen a bunch of salamanders. They're running around. Yesterday when I came in here, there was 2 like colorless, almost see-through frogs on my wall. And then when I came back from my ceremony, there was another frog in my toilet. They seem to pop up in my toilet a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going on and on and on, but there's a lot to talk about and document, and appreciate everybody watching, and drop me a subscribe. It's free, and I will keep documenting this trip. I leave here. Today is Tuesday. It's actually my son's first day of pre-K. So, Caleb, I hope you have the best day ever. I hope your classmates are very nice to you. I hope your teacher is very nice to you, and you listen and are a good boy, and I know you will be, and I can't wait to hear all about it. And hopefully I get some pictures and maybe videos. But yeah, today's Tuesday. I've been here since Sunday. I will be leaving on Saturday night to arrive back in Buffalo on Sunday around 1 o'clock. So yeah, I got 1 ceremony tonight, then I get a day off, then I have 2 more ceremonies in a row, and then I'll have Saturday off. So I'm so happy that I had started fasting prior to coming here. I have been fasting. Basically what I've been doing is once a week. I started at 24 hours, and then I've added at least an hour every single week since then. And now I'm all the way up to 42 hours. My next fast will be 43 hours. So that kind of prepped me for, which is funny because it quite literally prepped me for how I'm going to have to fast after noon until, so basically from noon to 8 a.m. I'm not eating anything. So let's see, noon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 11 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 20 hours, I think that is. I'm not the best at math, but I think I'm doing 20-hour fasts. And honestly, 24-hour fasts after getting up to the 30s and 40s, 24-hour fasts for me are easy. But I didn't have a lot of water yesterday, so it wasn't very easy because I had lost my water bottle and everything. So I'm going to try to keep up on my water today. But yeah. I would be probably interested in smoking some DMT in the future. You know, it only lasts 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm sure it's quite a different experience. You kind of blast off immediately and everything like that. So I think